Everyone, myself Charanjit Singh. In this part of the video, I am going to cover next topic, that is occurrence of metal and extraction of metals. So let's start with the what do you mean by occurrence? Occurrence means existence, means how matter basically exists in the earth crust or on the earth crust. So to understand this, first of all, we need to concentrate on these three terms, that is minerals, ores, and gangue. So before defining it, I am going to make you to understand what are these. So let's see this. Suppose you want to extract zinc. You want to extract zinc, and there will be number of options which are available on earth crust. Means zinc is can be available in the form of zinc carbonate. It can be available in the form of zinc blend, okay, or it can be obtained from zinc sulfate, or it can be obtained from zinc carbonate. Means what I'm trying to say, these are the options from where you can extract the zinc, okay. From out of these all options, okay, suppose you select this one because the productivity or efficiency of to obtain zinc from this is very high. So you have selected this zinc blend as to extract your zinc ore. So this is basically known as ore. So these all options are basically what? These options are minerals, and whatever you have selected, that will be under the category of ore. Hope you understand. Now we would like to talk about the definition of these minerals, ore and gangue. So what are minerals? So minerals are basically elements or compounds which occur naturally in the earth crust, that are called minerals, which can be the option that are minerals. Ores means out of these minerals, whatever the compound you have selected, means which is having a very high percentage of particular that you want, and you are having a efficiency to get extract from it, that will be under the category of ore. And what is a gangue? Gangue is basically contaminated with the large amount of impurities. Means these ores, whatever we have selected, these may have large particle of stones, soils, or any other impurity, that will be under the category of gangue. Next topic is extraction of metals from their ore, okay. So for the extraction of metal, we are having three steps. First one is enrichment of the ore, next one step is extraction of the metal, and third step is refining of the metal. I'm going to discuss about detail about it in details. So basically for the extraction, in our previous video I have shown you a reactivity series. Basically that metal series I have divided into three categories. First one is the metal which are at the top, okay, which are at the top. Third one which is at the least, which are least reacting, and center one which are the middle of the reactivity series, okay. So three categories I have divided: top, middle, and least reactive. Now we will start with our step 1, that is enrichment of the ore. Enrichment, I can say enrichment means we are going to enhancing the quality of the ore, or I can say it is a process of removing gangue from the ore, means the soil or sand particle from the ore that we have selected from the minerals. Now this method includes, basically it can have hydraulic washing, magnetic separation, flotation, chemical separation, or leaching. I'm going to speak in detail about it. So first one is hydraulic washing. So hydraulic washing method we are adopting only to dash that kind of ores where we are having a difference in their density, or you can say their weight. For example, suppose if there is a difference in the density of the ore and the gangue particles or the gangue particles, we are using this type of a slanting table, and we will have crushed ore, we will have it from the top, and we allow the water to flow from these kind of arrangement. And these are basically, these are boards, means these are the barriers that we have done. So ore, if it is heavy, it will basically settle at near the barriers like here, and the gangue particles which are lighter, they will washed out completely with the help of water steam, and it will be collected in the beaker, okay. So basically in this process, I can say in this process the crushed ore is washed by water stream, If an ore is denser than gangue, then the particles are washed away with the water stream and heavy ore remains behind, means ore will remain in this sloping table. For example, tin and lead, also we are using this system in gold refining also. Next one is magnetic separation. So basically this magnetic separation is being adopted for that kind of ores which are having magnetic properties. For example, iron can be attracted by the magnet, so that kind of ore can be pure, can be enriched or enhanced by this kind of matter. For example, here I am using a one roller which is of magnet, and other is a very simple roller, a simple material we are using. And iron particles along with the gangue or along with the impurities are going to be take by from the top of this section, and this is allowed to be rolled in this kind of pulley system. And and when this pulley will roll over these rollers, the gangue particle, it is because the gangue particle will be collected in this beaker. The reason is the gangue particle will not have any kind of magnetic property, but the iron particle will stick to this basically a roller, and it will basically now collected in this beaker. Reason is iron is attracted by this roller. So when it is being attracted by this roller, it will become stick to this roller surface with the pulley system, and it will be collected to this kind of beaker. I am going to repeat. This method will be adopted only and only where we are having the magnetic properties of the ore. Means ore which is mixed with gangue particles are mixed, are taken into the top of this pulley system, and this belt is allowed to rotate over these roller. Out of this, one roller is magnetic, when gangue which is non-magnetic is will collected over here, but the iron type material which shows magnetic property, they will stick with this pulley. When they cross this roller, they will be fall under the second beaker. So this kind of methods is adopted only and only where we are having a magnetic properties. So for example, magnetite, chromite and manganese, we are using this kind of system. Next is froth flotation method. So basically this method is adopted where we are having hydrophobic or hydrophilic properties. Hydrophobic means which hates water, and hydrophilic which loves water. Okay, or I can say this method is particularly we are using where we are having sulfide ores. Okay, again I am repeating, we are using this method only for that ores which are having S means sulfur or means sulfide at the end. For example, zinc blende, copper sulfide, okay, or lead sulfide. Okay, that kind of ore we are using this method. In this method, what we are doing, we are taking a big container or big beaker. In this we will add pine oil and water. Reason is pine oil, with the help of pine oil this sulfide can make froth. So basically when we pass a compressed air, when we take all the ore particle inside this beaker and we pass compressed air into it, the sulfide will make bubbles and it will make froth, means it will create some kind of foam, or you can say froth, and which you can see in this section, and which can be separated into the another container. Again I am repeating, in this we have to take a big beaker. Here we are going to add water and pine oil. Pine oil will helps the sulfide particle to make froth or to make foam. So when we passed compressed air to this beaker, the sulfide will make froth, and this particle of ore will be collected in the form of froth, and this can be separated out into the another beaker, and the gangue will be settled down at the bottom. So mainly that's why I was speaking, this method is mainly obtained in case of sulfides ore only. Next one is chemical leaching or chemical refining. In this process, the ores are soluble and gangues are insoluble. In this, basically what we are doing in chemical refining or leaching, we are choosing a chemical. Okay, in that chemical, that whatever the chemical we will choose it for, in that chemical the ore that we need to extract, it should be soluble and gangue particles should be insoluble. Again I am repeating, the chemical we will choose it for, in that chemical ore that we want to extract, it should be soluble and gangue particles should be insoluble. Okay, and that ore particle with this process converted to the metallic salt. Let's try to understand with the help of example. Suppose I am having zinc sulfide. In zinc sulfide, in the presence of oxygen, and I will add a chemical H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid, because I know when they are going to react, it will basically form zinc sulfate, which is a salt, and it will have water and it will liberate sulfur gas also. So in this process I have obtained zinc sulfate, which is a metal salt, okay, which is a metal salt. So basically after this obtaining this metal salt, I can easily extract my zinc from this. Okay, I'm repeating this example so that you can have a better idea. In this process I have, in this example I have taken zinc sulfide. In the presence of oxygen I have added H2SO4, means sulfuric acid, because I know zinc can react with SO4, it can form zinc sulfate, and later on I can extract zinc from zinc sulfate very easily, and side by side as a residue it will form water, and this gas will be liberated, or it will be evaporated from the solution. Hope you understand. So we have done enhancing of the ores, means enrichment of the ore. Now we will have to move towards the extraction of the ore. So first of all, the this is a step 2 extraction of the metals. Now first of all we will do it for the metals which are lower in activity series, or which are non-reactive, I can say. And these types of ores basically are reduced by heating. For example, this Hg from means mercury can be extracted from cinnabar from HGS by heating it. Means when we add oxygen and heat it, we can obtain mercurous oxide and sulfur dioxide from it, and later on after again if we heat it, we will get mercury from it. Okay, that means the metals which are lower in activity stage, they can be converted to the metal, or they can be extracted by easily by heating it only. Same as it is in the case of this Cu2s. When we again heat it in the presence of oxygen, we will get cupric oxide and sulfur dioxide. Again when we heat it, then we will get copper. So one more thing you must be noticed. So in both the things, firstly we have make their oxides like this. The reason is it is very easy to obtain metal from the oxides. That's why the each what we prefer to firstly to change metal into the oxide, as here we have done, we have converted to HgO, means we have made their oxide, because metal can easily extract it from their oxide. So firstly convert into oxide, then again heat it, and you will get your metal. So this is how we are obtaining a metal which are lower in reactivity series. Next we will talk about the extraction of metal which are middle in the reactivity series, or I can say which are moderate reactive. So basically the fundamental is, first of all, mostly ores in this kind of category is sulfide ores, or they are carbonates ore. Okay, so again the same criteria we are following. Firstly we will convert this ore into oxides. Okay, we will convert this all already having oxide, so we will heat it only. No, we will not add oxygen in carbonate ores. So this includes two types of process. First one is roasting, another one is calcination. Okay, roasting is the process, basically we are using it for sulfide ores. Roasting is a process in which the ore is being heated in the presence of oxygen. It is very important to write it. The ores are heated in the presence of oxygen. When we, because they are not having oxide, so when we heat it, for example zinc sulfide, when we heat it in the presence of oxygen, we will get zinc oxide and sulfur dioxide. Means what we want to obtain, an oxide of the ore or oxide of the matter, so that we can extract easily. Similarly, in case of calcination, since it contains, basically I was talking about carbonate ores, means CO3, for example ZnCO3. Okay, zinc carbonate already it contain oxygen, so no need to add oxygen. So calcination is a process where we are only heating it, or we are not giving any kind of molecules of oxygen, we are not providing oxygen. In how somehow in some case we are supplying limited amount of oxygen, but mainly calcination is done in the absence of the oxygen. So when we are heating zinc carbonate in the when we are heating it, we will get zinc oxide and we will get carbon dioxide. So what we want to get, we want to get their oxide so that it can be easily converted to the metal. So roasting and calcination are the two process. Roasting, again I'm repeating, we are using where in the case of sulfides, and we are using calcination in the case of carbonates. And roasting is done, is heating in the presence of oxygen, calcination in the absence of oxygen, we are heating the ore. Now we have obtained oxides of the metal. So now next step will be how to get metal from this kind of oxides. So next one is reduction of metal oxide to metal. So to reduce, we are using basically three these kinds of elements. That is carbon. We can use carbon. We can use carbon monoxide. We can use hydrogen to reduce the oxides. For example, we have obtained zinc oxide earlier. When we add carbon to it, we will get zinc, which we need it, and carbon monoxide. So the metal which are which are middle in the reactivity series, firstly we convert into their oxide, then we reduce it with the help of another kind of reagent like carbon monoxide and hydrogen, and we will get our metal. Now we have extracted the metal which are lower in reactivity series and the metal which are middle in the reactivity series. Now we will talk about the metals which are at the top of the reactivity series. For this I can say basically the metals which are highly reactive, means which are at the top, they cannot be extracted by carbon monoxide or hydrogen. We have to adopt another method, that is called electrolytic reduction. In this we are using an electrolytic cell. In this cell we have cathode, we have anode. These are electrode, basically electrode which is connected to negative of the battery, that is called cathode, which is connected to the positive of the battery, that is called anode. Okay, this electrolytic cell we will choose it for, and the solution is known as, basically the solution is known as electrolytic solution, electrolytic solution or electrolyte. So this is what basically about electrolytic cell. Now in this electrolytic cell, suppose I am giving you one example. Suppose I want to get Na, sodium, from NaCl. So what I will do, I will firstly make NaCl, I will make an aqueous solution of NaCl as an electrolyte. Okay, I will make an basically aqueous solution of NaCl, means I will add NaCl in water. So when I supply, I will connect a battery to this electrodes. When I switch on the current, what you will see, because I know in NaCl, Na is positive and Cl is negative. Again I am repeating, Na is positive and Cl is negative. So positive is being attracted by the negative and negative is being attracted by the positive. Again I am repeating, I know in NaCl, Na is positive and Cl is negative, and Na positive will be attracted by the negative electrode and Cl will be attracted by the positive electrode. So I can obtain Na from this electrode because it will be separated with the help of electricity. Means metal that I want, that is was sodium, it will be deposited at the cathode because it is being attracted by the cathode, and chlorine will be deposited at the anode, means we will get sodium from this electrolytic cell, or we will get another metal by this metal which are in the top of the activity series. Now we have done the extraction of metals which are in the top, which are in the middle, and which are in the lower in the reactivity. Next step is step number 3, that is refining of the metals. In this process again we are using same method, that is electrolysis. Okay, in this method there are some conditions, that is in anode we have to take impure metal that we have obtained from previous extraction, and at cathode we are going to take pure metal, and aqueous solution as a electrolyte we are going to take the metal which we want to extract it. Let's try to understand more with the help of example, because with the help of example I can explain you better. Let's move. Suppose this is a container of electrolysis. Okay, in this I am going to extract a copper. So here I am using, at anode I am using impure copper. Okay, I am attaching impure copper to this anode. Okay, and the solution will be, this should be remain same, or I can say sulfate of that impure copper or impure metal that I want to obtain. For example, here I am using copper sulfate solution. Okay, and cathode will be a pure copper. Okay, and at cathode there will be pure metal that we want to extract from the anode. Again I am repeating, at anode we are using impure metal, at cathode we are using pure metal that we want to obtain from the anode, and solution will be of sulfate that I want to obtain metal. For example, here I want to extract copper, so I will use copper sulfate solution. Okay, hope this is clear. So what will be the process in this? So when I'm going to attach a battery and a switch, when I switch on this circuit and when I press this key, what will happen? The anode, from the anode some amount of copper will be get inside this electrolytic solution, and electrolytic solution is already consist of copper. Okay, and we, because of anode, the copper has been added to this solution. The same amount of copper will be lost by this copper sulfate, it will get deposited to this cathode. Okay, again I am repeating, when I am supplying the amount, some amount of electricity, what will happen? The impure matter from this anode get dissolved inside the aqueous solution, and same amount of that metal will be from the solution get deposited to this cathode. So in this method what you are obtaining, you will get your pure metal deposited properly at the cathode, and time to time you can remove it and you can get your pure metal. And after this you will notice some kind of impurities left at the bottom of the container. That impurities will be called as anode mud, because these impurities are obtained from the anodes, that's why this is called anode mud. Okay, hope this is clear. So in this method we have seen, when we pass current through it, the matter dissolve in the electrolyte, that is was aqueous solution, an equivalent amount of pure metal from the solution deposited at the cathode, and the insoluble impurities settle down at the bottom of the anode, which is called the anode mud. Next is corrosion. So what is corrosion? That is when we basically, I think everyone knows about it, when a metal surface is exposed to moist air for a long time, it will start corroded. That is called basically a corrosion. The surface of some metal are corroded when they are exposed to the moist air for a long time. For example, silver becomes black when they exposed to the moist air, and copper react with moist carbon dioxide and form a green coat outside, that is of copper carbonate. And iron, when exposed to the moist air, it is having a brown color. Substance is formed to over the surface of the iron, that is called rust, which is called the rusting of a iron also. So next is how to prevent this corrosion. So for the prevention of corrosion, the corrosion can be prevented by painting, oiling, greasing, galvanization, anodization, or by making their alloys. And for example, I am giving you example of galvanization. Galvanization is a process in which we are protecting steel and iron from rusting by coating them with a thin layer of zinc. You must have seen the handles of the cycles or any other that kind of vehicles are shining type materials are there, that is basically what that is, having a thin layer of zinc outside. Next one is by making their alloys. So alloys are what? Alloys are the mixture, homogeneous mixture of two or more metals, or it can be a mixture of metals or non-metals. By making alloys, you must have seen we are having alloys in our cars, we are having alloys in our bikes. Basically it gives us strength and a good appearance also. Okay, For example, iron plus carbon we are using. Steel is a alloy of iron plus nickel and chromium, and brass is a alloy of copper and zinc. It is made up of copper and zinc, and bronze is basically made up of copper and zinc. So this was all about your chapter metals and non-metals. And in the comment section I am going to attach answer key for the in-text and back exercise question answer. Thank you.